Hey everyone, this is Lisa from NYC Gal Out. Welcome back to my channel. We are talking Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 14 Reunion Part 1. I really felt like in this episode, they just freaking dragged Garcelle through the freaking coals. Let me say this, okay? For all of you Sutton fans out there, for all of you people who were, so into the friendship of Garcelle and Sutton, she's a shitty friend. Okay, Erica called Sutton out for not being supportive of other women. Basically said she was a shitty friend. Said that, you present yourself as a friend to women, but you work behind their back. And I'm going to say this, Erica, whether you like her or not, whether you're a fan of her or not, when it came to Sutton, she called it out. Because Garcelle, if anybody in that cast was a friend to Sutton, it was Garcelle. Now, I'm not particularly a fan of Sutton or Garcelle, but even I am able to see Sutton does not value that friendship that Garcelle gave her. Okay, she values whatever friendship that she could get from Kyle Richards more than whatever friendship she had from Garcelle. Now, I think after 5 seasons, Garcelle finally sees it. Kudos to her for seeing it. But man, look, Erica went, I'm not going to say she went hard after Garcelle. She was a little snide. She said, you're just boring and whatever. That's not like the worst thing that anybody's ever said about her, because legit, if you hop onto any social media platform, a lot of people say this person's boring, that person has no storyline, that person, no matter what franchise you are on, there's always going to be someone who thinks that a cast member has no storyline, is freaking boring, needs to be fired, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Every single cast member gets that criticism. Every franchise, every cast member. So I don't necessarily think that what Erica said was the worst thing ever. Bose, I don't think what Bose said to her was the worst thing ever. Bose was like, you shouldn't have said that to Dorit about insinuating that she thought it was a setup and whatever. Dorit though, look, I'm going to say this for Dorit though. I felt how Garcelle felt like, yeah, I don't believe that. I was definitely up there with Garcelle. Now, the home invasion itself, do I think that is a setup? That part, I'm unsure. But the other part, here's what I have a really hard time believing with Dorit. I find it very highly improbable. She has a better chance of getting struck by lightning. She has a better chance of winning the Mega Million Lotto than having so many catastrophes. So many, I think there was a flood, her house got robbed, then she had $10,000 in her purse. Who has that bad of a luck, right? I definitely think maybe there was some insurance fraud going on. Now, with the home invasion though, that was probably part of the insurance fraud. Do I have proof? No, I don't have proof. We are looking at this from a perspective of normal people wouldn't do that. But you know what? A normal person also wouldn't commit a crime like that. To do a home invasion, that is a level of criminal activity that is considered a violent crime. Now, look, I know a lot of people love saying, felon, you're a felon and this and that. Whatever. Listen to me. I don't freaking feel like tax evasion. I mean, you could be a felony and be a tax invader. Who the fuck cares, You want to lie on your mortgage? You want to lie on your credit card application? Let me tell you, the majority of people lie and commit some sort of fraud when it comes to banking applications, okay? Whether it's mortgage, credit card, whatever. People fluff up their resume. Well, people also fluff up their mortgage application, their loan applications, their credit card application. They say that they make more than they actually do. And look, same thing can go for taxes, right? Some people, they flip around with numbers on their taxes so that they don't pay that much tax, or that they don't pay any taxes at all. Some people don't file any taxes. So that kind of stuff, I feel like whatever. I don't really fucking care. You know what I mean? It's all paper crime to me. But something like a home invasion, or even when you're not home and just burglarizing somebody's home, that is a level of criminal violence that is not just paper crimes. I think that's a better way of saying it. I know they call it white collar, but I think it's better to say that, it's a difference between paper crime and actual, what I consider violent crime. Having said that, look, I feel like somebody breaking into my home as an adult thinking back to it, I'm thinking, well, why did they do that? Because whenever I think of something objectively, I always try to put myself in that situation, even though it seems so ludicrous. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if I was on TV and, this was being played out, now I'm thinking to myself, well, would that be believable if I was on national TV and this was being played out? Probably not. So in that sense, I am willing to give Dorit the benefit of the doubt that she was not aware of that home invasion. PK, and Dorit touches on this too. She says, no, you didn't say that I was part of the setup, but you basically alluded to PK having set it up. And even though Garcelle is saying that, whatever, I mean, she more or less, that was what she was implying. Eventually, she concedes that, you know what? That's my opinion. That's how I feel. I feel like it was a setup. And she concedes to that. I do realize that, I'm trying to make sense of something from a criminal perspective. And how could you do that, right? Because obviously, if it made sense, they wouldn't be fucking criminals. Criminals are criminals because it doesn't make sense what the fuck they do. People are not able to rationalize or normalize somebody breaking into somebody's house. I feel like in that sense, I'm willing to give Dorit the benefit of the doubt that it was legit. The home invasion was legit. However, I still think there's something funny, maybe to do with insurance fraud. But okay, so in that sense, I kind of understand why Dorit was going hard at Garcelle. I didn't understand Sutton. Sutton threw her friend underneath the bus. Now, they were talking about Morgan Wade and whatever else, and apparently Kyle had a conversation off camera with Garcelle and with Sutton, and they don't say what it is, but Garcelle says something like, oh, Sutton, what did you say to me after she left? And Sutton's like, oh, I said, we should just leave it alone or some bullshit like that. And Garcelle was like, that wasn't what you said. You said she's playing chess. Forget about not speaking up. She flat out said that wasn't even what you said. So I feel like Garcelle is probably like, oh, okay. Okay. I'm curious to see how Sutton fans are going to defend Sutton. I am just surprised that it took Garcelle so long to realize it. But here's one thing I will say. It does seem that whenever Garcelle and Sutton get together, it does seem like frickin' frack. Now, I said this in multiple recaps during this season. I don't know if it's just because they don't have anything going on in their lives. And that's no shade, but maybe they do have stuff going on, but producers are not interested. That could be it too, They decide what they want to show to the public. So you might have something that you want out there, maybe she wants to show behind the scenes stuff of her production company or whatever, and producers are like, okay, well, that's not the route that we're going. We don't know. PK was asked to come onto the reunion. He declined. He said that he doesn't want to. He made some sort of written statement where he says that, basically, the part that he's going to only speak about is that he wanted to defend himself. And Dorit said that he was a bad father and all this other stuff and yada, yada, yada. It got brought up about his alcoholism and whatever. Dorit is like, he talked about it. It wasn't like I outed him. It wasn't like I freaking outed his secret or something. He very publicly acknowledged that he's on a sobriety journey, that he's sober, that he stopped drinking. I think it's just Kyle trying to prepare herself. It's a preemptive strike. And what I mean by that is that she knows she's in the hot seat when it comes to Dorit. They're going to be talking about the fact that doesn't Kyle think that it's inappropriate for her? Whose side are you on? It's War of the Roses. You have to choose a side. You can't say I'm being neutral. It's either you are my friend or you're the enemy's friend. So in this situation, I feel like Kyle is doing a preemptive strike. She wants it to not necessarily be sympathetic to her, but I think she wants to make Dorit look like she's in a bad position so that she would not have to defend herself as much or try to convince the audience why what she did isn't considered not being a girl's girl or a good friend or whatever. Now, what she also said is that, she felt like it was her opinion that Dorit was going way over the board this season because this was an opportunity for her to keep her job and whatever. And what Dorit says that made a lot of sense is, well, you're friends with producers and executives. And she said, yes. And she said, well, then you should have known that I've been asked back. Meaning, why would she need to up the antics if she's been asked back? Anyway, Beau's I like her. She's really articulate. I love that when Andy said, you know, you look like somebody who does their homework. Did you watch the show previous to joining the cast? And she said, oh yeah, I watched. I love that. I love that level of honesty because there are so many franchises where a cast member comes on, a newbie, they're asked, you know, have you ever seen this show? And they're like, no, I never seen it. No, I wasn't interested, never heard of it. Like, yes, you were interested and yes, you heard about it. I really like that Bose was like, oh yeah, I watched. And I also like that she gave kudos to Garcelle because Andy Cohen didn't ask her this question. This was something that Bose volunteered herself. And what she said was, you know, I do want to say that what I appreciate was that I met with Garcelle first before filming and I was asking her to give me the tea, you know, give me the 411 and everybody. And she said, no, because I want you to have an open mind about everyone. I don't want to influence you. And the reason why I said I like that is because I do feel like she is able to give credit. You know how like some people, they don't like giving credit. They don't like giving acknowledgement. People gravitate towards the opinions that they believe with. So if you're not particularly a fan of Dorit or Bose, you're going to go to content creators who have a very different opinion than I do about Bose. But like I said, you know, like anything else in life, whether it's politics, religions, whatever, you are going to gravitate towards the opinions that you believe size with your own. In this first part of the reunion, it went by really fast. It focused a lot on Dorit and PK, but then the majority of it was like a piled on Garcelle. And I felt bad for Garcelle. She's sitting next to her bestie Sutton and she didn't say peep. She was as quiet as a church mouse. You know what? I can't imagine Garcelle after 5 seasons of putting up with her bullshit that she's not mad about that. I'm just surprised that it took her 5 seasons to kind of be activated about it because I would have been like, what the hell? And when Sutton had the nerve to like walk into Garcelle's dressing room and was like, oh, I know it. I'm going to get it next. I'm just preparing myself with it because Garcelle was hot. She was hot. She was like, you know, fuck Erica. You know, she's boring. Fuck her. Fuck you, Erica. You're boring. You're boring. Fuck you. Fuck you. And that's when Sutton comes in and she's like, oh, you know, I'm not prepared. I know I'm going to be in the hot seat and all this other stuff. Garcelle should have been like, girl, I need a moment to get mad. Can you just like let me have my moments? Like, I just went through the freaking ringer. Can we talk about me before we even get into, like, the what-ifs about you? Sutton, you're a shitty friend. You are a shitty friend. I don't care what you Sutton lovers or Sutton fans think. I don't even know if she has fans or what, but I don't care what you Sutton fans think because I would love to see how you guys are going to defend her now that her and Garcelle are basically, they've went their separate ways. That is not a genuine friendship. That is not a genuine friendship. That was a friendship of convenience. I've said it from the get-go. You're a shitty friend, Sutton. You are. Like, when Erica says that you are not supportive of women, that, you know, to their face say that you are a friend, but behind their backs, you are a foe, you are. And she has like no self-awareness because it's like legit you were sitting next to your homegirl who just had a pile on. You go into her dressing room looking for her to console you while she was still feeling hot and bothered about what just happened on stage. Like, girl, you lack self-awareness. You know, when she was talking with Kyle and Kyle was like, oh my God, you know, Dorit just had a home invasion. And she was like, well, you know, I have my problems too. You know, my supplier, they're not going to be able to ship for 3 weeks. And Kyle's like, are you kidding me? Dorit just had a home invasion and you're worried about a delay in your supply chain or some shit? I hope Garcelle just sits back and just be like, nope, you can look to your knight in shining armor, Kyle, on the other side of you. You could look to her for some support because I ain't doing jack shit. I'ma sit here and I'm gonna make faces, and that's it. You ain't getting jack shit support from me. And also because Sutton is a messy drama queen, but you know, like I said, frickin' frack. So you kind of like need somebody to like play off of each other, right? But Garcelle, she's out. She's like, I'm done. I don't think Sutton and her horse Santos have that much to offer to the audience. You need to have somebody to play off to. Otherwise, she's just sitting there talking to herself, gossiping to her freaking, I don't know, lamppost or something. And here's the thing. Before people start saying, well, Sutton doesn't need it. Sutton has money. Well, yeah, she has money and she doesn't need it, right? So what the fuck is she doing? Like, what? She doesn't need it and she has money. Well, something has to be very incentivizing for her. Something has to, like, make her interested. So what is it? Maybe it's the fame. Who knows? I don't know. But whatever it is, she wants to be back. So for people saying, well, she doesn't need it. You don't need it. You walk away. Whether it's because of financial reason or whether it's because you just like the fame, you don't want to give it up. So she needs the fame. That's something that she's craving. And I'm going to close off with this. What I also really like about Beauvais was when she said, what I really didn't like about some of the ladies was that they were insinuating that Dorit had influenced my opinion of them. And she said, nobody can influence my opinion of somebody else. If you think that anyone is able to influence what I think of them or my opinion of them, then that doesn't say a lot about you. And I agree. Because if you feel like somebody, like, what the fuck could Dorit offer her? Like, Dorit can't give her jack shit because what could Dorit offer her? Dorit can't offer her anything, you know. Dorit can't even offer her stability on the show because if you were to believe Kyle thinks that, like, Dorit was playing it up to the cameras because she was worried about her employment status. So that's, like, you know, she can't even offer you stability on the show. So I feel like Beauvais is a very smart woman and, you know, what she said, I feel the same way. So I totally feel the same way. If somebody thinks that my opinion about that person is going to be influenced just because you don't like somebody, you got a problem with them, and you think you're going to influence my feeling and my opinion about that person when I have no beef with that person and I'm just getting to know that person, then that says to me that you are an insecure person, that you don't think highly of yourself, that you think that somebody is going to be able to change my mind about you, even though I don't have an opinion about you. I just met you. I'm just getting to know you. And you already think that somebody's talking shit about you and that I'm going to just jump on the bandwagon because they're talking shit about you. It's a 3-part reunion. What do you guys think? You know, what did you guys think of the pile-on of Garcelle? What did you guys think about Sutton not saying jack shit to be supportive of her friend, her bestie for 5 years? Like, she's sitting next to me too. I would have been like, Andy, can I get up and just, like, freaking, you know, swap seats with somebody on the other side of the couch? Because, like, legit, I can't sit next to this freaking Judas person over here. Wish Garcelle would have kind of put some of that energy towards Sutton when they were in St. Lucia, and legit, she apologized the next day. The next morning, she apologizes to Sutton saying, you know, I want to apologize for walking away. Like, girl, why are you apologizing? Like, your friend hung you out to dry. Like, what? I don't get it. I don't get why Sutton is such a shitty friend. And I also don't get why Garcelle, even though she sees it finally, is letting Sutton continue to be a shitty friend without having any accountability, acknowledgement, anything. You know, why she's not supportive of women and why she's not a girl's girl has a lot to do with, like, her relationship with her mother. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. That's the wrap up, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to hit the like, follow, subscribe, leave me a comment and all of that good jazz. Let me know what you guys thought of part 1.